Attitude and actions of the Go Wags organization. You can see them listed here in front of you. And I forgot to say earlier that all of these can be found in the handbook that was shared with you. We just wanted to make sure we highlighted these because they are important to us as an organization. As you look down the list, I think it's pretty self explanatory. Hey, we're in front of youth, we're in front of kids. So we want to make sure that we watch our language, especially when a call doesn't go our way. So foul language in front of kids, in my mind, there's really not any time that that should be occurring, regardless of how bad the call was, or even if the other dugout or the other team's fans are losing their mind. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to watch our language. With that being said, number two, we respect our opponent, the umpires. We're there to play fairly. We're not going to try to bend the rules or cheat in any way. So we show respect for our opponent in that way. Number three, it's really important to remember that there's never okay to ride an umpire. If a call doesn't go our way and our coaches want to talk to the umpires, there's a proper way, a right way to do that, not sitting in the dugout and chirping in their ear, or as a parent moving into behind the home plate so they can hear you complain. That is not a way that we want our organization to be represented. So again, there is a proper way to challenge calls if that's the situation, but we don't want to ride an umpire and argue over and over again. It's not going to help us. It's, again, not something we want to model in front of kids. I love this last one. We expect our players and fans to be humble in victory and gracious in defeat. I believe strongly that what you model as a parent is going to really help our kids out in terms of the decisions that they make after a game. So we lost. So is it, again, do we blame, or how can we show sportsmanship after that loss? Going over to the other team, maybe a parent that you saw that's the father of their shortstop that made some great plays at shortstop, seeking them out after the game, letting them know, hey, your son played a great game today. I enjoyed watching him play. He's a great little ball player. Good luck the rest of the tournament. When we model those things for our kids, I think they're likely to pick up on that, and then and hopefully carry that process on. I would love to see some of our older kids making some of those statements to our opponents after a game, in victory or in defeat. And when we do win, obviously we don't want to be in a situation where we're throwing it in anyone's face. When we're up 10, 11 runs, whatever it might be, like kind of calling off the dogs. These are ways that we respect our opponents. And these are ways that we show that we, when we win, we'll be humble. That, we're not here to run up the score. We're not here to win 25-0. We're here to win, but ultimately we want to be humble in victory and gracious in defeat. So these are the actions, the attitudes that we want from the Go Wags organization, from our parents, our coaches, and our players as well. Coach Kyle Wagner, when he introduced this organization, talked a lot about being a good teammate first. So what does this look like and sound like? Hey, if Jimmy is not in the game, does he sulk on the bench? Does he mope around? Does he not into the game? Does he not cheer on his teammates? Now he's making it all about him, not being a good teammate. A good teammate says, hey, whatever the role is that the coach wants me to play, I'm willing to do that. So whether that's play first base, maybe it's not playing this game, or sitting a few innings on the bench, whether it's in left field, center field, right field, whatever is best for the team or the coach wants me to do, I'm willing to do. Hey, how about supporting teammates when errors are made? Kyle's brother Brett shared a great story with me where he said that when he used to pitch, if one of his infielders made an error after the play was over and as he got the ball back to get on the mound, he would look back at that player and say, hey, don't worry, Kyle, I've got the next guy. Don't worry, I got this guy for you. I'll strike this guy out. Like, just encouraging him that, hey, it's okay that you made that error, but I got your back. What a great statement. I would be thrilled at the idea that our players at Go Wags would have that mindset. When my buddy makes an error, instead of just staring at him or blaming him, letting him know that, yeah, we've got your back. We're going to get the next one for you. I think that's a great equation for success. A good teammate is inspired by the success of his teammates. He doesn't feel threatened. So, hey, when he's hitting, everybody's hitting. We love it. We want our team to be successful. We've already talked about not blaming an umpire for a loss, and just being willing to take feedback from coaches and teammates. These are all ways that we can be a good teammate first, and it's one of the priorities that we have here at Go Wags. Finally, this is the last thing we wanted to talk about, was just playing time. And you can have these conversations with your coaches if you'd like, but I just want you to know that our approach is really, we try to get every kid into the game. We try to hit the lineup, especially on pool play for Saturday games, unless the competition would dictate otherwise. So regardless of where your kid is, like, there, in many cases, some of our younger teams, kids will rotate. They're just not a first baseman or just not a center fielder. I think when you reflect on that, you understand the value in that. We want our kids to be able to play multiple positions. So as they get older and competition gets tougher, this is a way that they'll find themselves onto that high school team. If they always played third base and there's a kid 1 year older that is a great third baseman, that may keep them from the field. Whereas if they show the ability to play outfield or play another spot in the infield, that may help them with playing time. So we want to make sure that our kids are getting in a variety of places and getting opportunities to play. Now, in some cases on Sunday or championship play, there may be times where we don't hit our entire lineup. But just please know that the goal for the weekend is that we try to give as close as we can to equal playing time for the weekend. It won't be perfect because not every weekend goes as planned, or we won't play as many games as we anticipated. But the goal is that one kid doesn't sit out an entire day, obviously, or sit out groups of games on Saturday or Sunday, because that's not what our expectation is for playing time. And I'll conclude with this, that we do have guest players on occasion. And when someone guests, they can hit anywhere in the lineup. But the goal is that a guest player does not play more innings in the field than a paying rostered player. And that is for the entire weekend, not an individual game. So if I guest a player, let's say I bring in Timmy, and Timmy is a great pitcher. He may have a game where he pitches that entire game, and some of our other rostered players will have to sit simply because the guest player is pitching that game. But my expectation for Go Wags would be in the other games when Timmy is not pitching, that he would sit the bench and try to get to that level where he's the kid that has sat the most innings compared to our other kids that, again, are paid rostered players. So not necessarily an individual game, but looking at it for an entire weekend is our goal. Okay, so if you have any questions about what was said, I know it's a real long webinar, but I wanted to make sure that you heard some of the things that we discussed. Feel free to reach out to your coaches or myself, and we look forward to the start of the 2019 season. Thanks.